sakes, man, our first artist that we've had on the platform to come share. This one is super, super important and special to me because I remember finding this young man on TikTok by a song called New Crib. And when I first saw the song, I was like, yo, this shit is funny, but this shit is kind of tight though. Like he kind of I was like,
Feel
yo,
like I'm on the set
tight,
right now.
right? I was like, oh shit. And I saw it having some traction on TikTok, and I think he was probably about at like, I think it just started hitting. So boom, you probably like 30, 50,000, like
Yeah,
really running up. Yeah.
yeah.
And boom. So I keep going down. I get to Boys Do Cry. And
You start crying.
This is, I've never seen or heard a rapper touch on something so vulnerable and so direct. Um, and then I get to Black Hair, and I'm like, yo, this shit is special. Boom. I go click on the Instagram link, go to Instagram immediately, DM slide, and I'm like, yo, what up? What are you doing? Who's like, what's going on? And the man hits me right back and was such. But the first thing that I noticed on the Instagram is there was this post saying, "Yo, I was sleeping on one of my brethren's couches, um, and when I made a lot of this content, you know, and just basically just saying it like, yo, you just got to keep going, and like just the fact that you like were in that space right there enough to like stay in gratitude and be like, remember, like, yo, there was a time where this shit wasn't looking good, really stuck out to me. So boom, when I hit you, and me and you had a conversation, I was just like, yo, uh I would love to work with you in any type of capacity. Guys, we have, and now, seeing the growth that this young man has had on socials and just in his life, and like some of the opportunities that have been given, not given to you, but that you've earned on your way to who knows where, and not just in hip hop, but just film, wherever you want to take it, just as a complete overall entertainer. It's just been a blessing to see, and an honor to call you a friend and somebody that I can talk to, all the time. Piff Marty, guys, Piff Marty.
Yo, thank
I
you.
wanna, yeah,
What a beautiful intro too. Like that was
yeah.
not even joking. That actually touched my heart. I
Oh
appreciate
man,
everything that you said.
thank
Um,
you, man.
happy to
Appreciate
be
you
here.
coming on.
Happy to be
Appreciate you
here.
coming on, dog.
Us too. Wait, so Piff, you're from New York,
I'm from New
right?
York, born and raised. Family's from Jamaica though, but I'm born and raised in New
Right.
York.
Jamaican restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Love the
um,
Jamaican.
yeah, no, wait. So for me, quickly, I want to say too, because this is a big moment for us. We'll look back in a couple years and be like, damn, our first artist we ever interviewed. And I think this is a great place to start because I think your career is in a really exciting place, Piff. Just with the growth you've seen over the last year, 2 years. Um, but yeah, I'm from New York. I grew up getting in the car every day. My parents putting on Howard Stern, driving me to school, whatever it was, and listening to him interview a lot of people, a lot of artists. And so this is something exciting for me too, especially be talking to a fellow New Yorker. There's always like a sort of inherent thread there. We understand why like I'm obnoxious or, why, you
No
carry a
question.
basketball around.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You just understand
Yeah.
it.
Um, but yeah, no, it's good to have you here and, let's jump on it.
Yeah, man. Piff, what I really want to definitely um tell to the audience that, like, yo, what gravitated me to Piff wasn't, of course, the music was good, but like our conversations that we would have around music and around your vision of what you saw yourself being as an artist were
Mhm.
like what drew us like close together. And like, how long have you been working on the vision per se? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Well, when you talk about the vision, I assume that you mean what's happening right now, what I'm doing right
Yeah,
now. This was really like a lot of it where it was happy accidents and me seeing something that worked and I'm like, oh, this is really working for real. And so I would say over the last year and a half, I've been
yeah,
working towards what this looks like now. And I'm somebody who plays by ear with anything that I do, just because the temperature changes for any kind of industry, any kind of moment, any kind of experience. The temperature changes without you knowing because we have no control of what's going on. And I was just trying to figure out, how do I find my way in
yeah,
without compromising my integrity, compromising just who I am as a person, but
yeah.
still producing quality stuff while also saving bread too, because like ain't had no bread.
Right.
So yeah, it's really like a mixture of happy accidents, mixture of being calculated, and me just being reactionary and then responsive to whatever is happening. Like listening to the people, listening to the people, and then putting it, expanding on it, basically.
For sure. But
Mhm.
you told me when we first started talking that you had took kind of like a gap in music. Like you had started. When did you first start?
Mhm.
So when I first started making music, it was 20 2010 or
Wow.
2009 probably. Like I just remember recording a song with my friend Mervin at this sketchy ass apartment. It was a like it was in the hood. It was real scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. But
Yeah.
we recorded a song. I heard my voice I heard my voice for the first time. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I got a little swag in my voice. This is cool.
Yeah.
I like how rapping feels. And I know as a
Ah.
kid I always wanted to rap, but I just took breaks in between just because I don't know, I didn't know how to get it done. I didn't know
Yeah.
where to record or anything like that. But I started in 2009, put out a mixtape in 2012 or 2011,
Mhm.
my first official project, because before then I was just dropping freestyles on YouTube.
Yeah.
But my first official project was on Dat Piff in 2011. I expected that to like take me out the hood, and it didn't. You know,
Yeah.
um, and then like I was just working on different stuff for like 3 years after that, and I just like, fuck, this shit is not working.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. I'm not built for it. In hindsight, it was only because I haven't been told no before, and then once I really started getting into like this music stuff, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of rejection in this.
It's
Something
nothing
I
but
was
no's.
not used to,
Yeah.
just
That's
because me being naturally talented at most things that I do, people saying, "Yo, you're so talented, you're so creative, you so this and this," making my head so big. I'm like, damn, maybe I'm lit. I just need to drop a mixtape and I'm out. And that didn't happen, and I was
yeah.
just so
Yeah.
discouraged. So it made me quit.
That's interesting because
Mm.
in those moments, I think those are the most important moments is when I would say God is speaking through other people to just like let you know like that's your purpose, like telling you like, yo, you're talented, like yo, you're
Hmm.
good, like, and then every so now and then sends you that sign that you've been looking for the whole time to like keep you pursuing, because in your pursuit there's always going to be that hurdle of adversity that could take you
Yeah,
out. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So what was that sign for you to be like, hold on, I gotta come back?
So, and this is really funny, and I talk to him about this every day. My engineer, um, who's now one of my closest friends too. My engineer, after I quit, he's always been saying, "Hey, you should come back. Hey, you should start. You should start. You should keep doing it." But there was this one day I was going to work. I was working overnight shift, overnight security shift, front desk. I was on my way to work, and then he gets on the train, and he's like, "Whoa, would you look at this, everybody? It's New York's best kept secret. Riding the train, going to work." And he just looked at me, and I'm like, "Damn, you gonna do this right here?" And he's like, and it just like it just woke me up. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
yeah, I should be doing this. You're
I'm
right. I should
bugging.
be doing this. And he's been telling me this since I quit music, but like him going on a train and just blasting me like that, mind you, there was like honestly like 30 people on the train, 30 to 40 people on the train. You know how New York City trains go.
Yeah.
Like New York's best kept secret, riding the train, going to work. And I guess I got a little embarrassed because I'm like, damn, I am withholding my talents and withholding what I feel is something that I know deep down I want to do, but I just like because of insecurities, I just stopped doing and then wanting to play it safe and go to college and do work a job and things like that. Nothing wrong with working a job, but I just know for me, it's not what I wanted to do.
Or you just knew it wasn't what you were meant for. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Because that's
yeah,
something. There's something in your spirit when you know that you meant to do something, and you
yeah.
know you kind of nervous. You don't really want to do it, but when you just do it anyway, you know
Mm-hmm.
that's what you
I
that's what you
think
meant to do.
it's also like it's a common theme of like the theme of rejection, you know, like you feeling like it came out and didn't do what it was supposed to do. It's like, oh, let me pivot to something else and shift to something else because it didn't just receive that warm welcome. You know, it's an interesting reoccurring theme in all of our lives, I feel like, you know. Um, but what I'm also curious, the first time you were making music, so like 2009, 2010,
Yeah.
and then kind of when you came back a couple years ago, I think there's clearly a shift in how you did it, like the style
For
of
sure.
content you make, you know, not taking at all the typical route, right?
Yeah.
Like, in just your approach. So what was like the when you decided to come back, or in that moment when your guy called you out and you realized like, damn, I am not doing what I want to be doing. How did you realize like how you were gonna do it this second time around?
Great question. So before, when I was rapping before, I was still pretty raw, and it's funny because my mixtape back then was called Raw. I was still pretty raw. The things that I would rap about was just me being the best rapper, me being real braggadocious,
You
me
know,
being
real rap
conceited,
shit. You know
real
what
rap shit, just rap shit, barring it up every bar and stuff like that.
I'm saying?
And I, while I think rapping wise, I think I was better back then than I am now, to be honest, just because of how like just like real rap raw I was. But I do know that I wanted to come back and do something important and talk about things that people are actually going through just because of the music I was listening to at the time when I did come back. I was listening to Wale, I was listening to a lot of old Kanye, I was listening to Big Sean, J. Cole, Kendrick. I'm like, yo, they're making music that fits my life. And if
Yeah.
I'm going to start making music again, I want to do exactly that. I want to give people a reason to say, shit, this song changed my life. I want to be able to make stuff like that just because those artists before me did it for me. So that really was it. I just wanted to make a soundtrack to people's lives. As cliche as it sounds, it's like I really wanted to do that just because of the rappers that did it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
But
were
mean?
so direct in your approach, dog. I don't think any rapper has ever been so direct in a subject, in a subject matter, and
Mm-hmm.
the content, but also being able to be clever and give you punchlines and
that's
you know.
that's the thing for me, like you wanting to make an impact, and I say this in the best way possible, that's great. But that's not what's really impressive about what you're doing to me, because you are making an impact. You making the impact is impressive. You wanting to is not the most impressive thing. Really, sorry, my dog is just drinks water like friggin' it's so loud. Um, let him pass for a second. But what's really impressive to me, hey, enough. Watch out. What's really
Stop drinking.
impressive, yeah, come on, man. There's more important things taking place here. But what's really my bad, what's really impressive to me is how you're doing it. Like I want to know creatively how you were like, yo, I'm gonna do it in this style, right? Like, and I know a lot of it's like DIY content, but like there's a lot
That's
of
what you're talking about. All
creativity.
right, got you, got
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Like your approach to being creative is super creative. You're not just
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, I wrote a song, cool. Now I shoot a video, cool. Like, you know, maybe the video's sick, whatever, but it's like, no, it's really different how I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But that to me is like, yo, because the first time you were putting out music, it seems like you took like, yo, you made a mixtape, was on some, you know, you were like
Traditional
typical
stuff.
rap shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this approach is like just different from a content perspective.
And also in that Metro, did you quit when you were on BET, like on the freestyle shit? Like, were you
Uh,
had that happened and then you was like, nah, I'm done, or
no.
this
So
after?
the first after 106 and Park, that was when I quit. But the other
Okay,
BET stuff, that was when
yeah,
I came back,
back. All
and I
right,
was
bet.
still doing traditional stuff. And
Yeah.
then and I'll answer your question, Troy. The way that I do it now is because really the pandemic. You know what I mean? It started like manifesting because of the panini, and I needed to figure out how do I enter this space where I can't do shows, I can't do any of this typical stuff. I was kind of forced to just get creative. Then I saw TikTok, you know what I mean? And I watched Gary V. Y'all know Gary V,
Yeah,
Yeah.
of
right?
course.
Yeah, I watch Gary Vee all the time. He's been for years before TikTok became what TikTok is now. He was saying you got to get on TikTok. You got to get on TikTok. You got to get on TikTok. I'm like, yo, it's a kids app. It's
Uh,
just dances and all this other shit. I don't. What am I gonna do on that app? But there was a video where he said just spend an hour a day just watching TikTok videos. Just spend an hour a day, and I did that for I did that for 3.5 weeks, just watching TikTok videos. And I'm like, oh, there's a language being spoken here. There's a language that people here speak, and I just need to figure out what this language is. And I just kept watching and watching just to get a feeling for how people talk on this app. When I say talk, I just mean like
yeah.
how the
How they
videos are.
engage? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I think I know how to do this because I have a theater background. Sidebar, I wanted to be an actor too, an actor before I wanted to be a rapper. So I
Okay.
have this theater background where I know how to create something visually. And TikTok is like the perfect place to do this. And I see Instagram comedians get big just using their phone. I see all these people just using their phone, getting big and getting popularity and getting opportunities. I never saw a rapper do this. Just because the way rappers are typically supposed to do things, you have to have a big ass budget video. You're supposed to have hoes right here, chains right here, and a car and all this other shit. And I'm like, what if I don't do that? What if I do not do that? What would happen? And this is something I never saw before. So I just looked at it like that. And I already had the sense of humor. So I'm like, fuck it. Let me just make a video. So the first video that I made was just a freestyle on top of my roof where I'm just doing different edits, dancing and stuff, because I be dancing.
Yeah.
And it got a great response. I'm like, oh, there's something here. So all I did was just hone in on what I've already been doing and mixing the rap skill, the directness of it, if directness is a word, with the creative editing, putting all of that in a melting pot is something that none of us have ever seen before. I know I've
Yeah.
never seen anybody do this before. And that's why now I feel like I'm in a space of my own where I can
100%.
just do whatever I want for real.
Do you do you ever think about, I think it's a great thing because you've carved your own lane. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen anybody else do it before either. Do you ever have insecurities or worries even at times about what it looks like for you down the road carving this lane of your own? Now, of course, I say that knowing that being in your own lane is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But not taking this route, like I'm sure there's hurdles where you talk to people or you cross paths with people and they aren't, they might not see it at first. They might be like, yo, there's something cool, the numbers and all this, but like
Hmm.
it doesn't fit into the thing, all this other stuff that I sort of see all the time. So like, it's, I got to put a little bit more effort into maybe understanding why this is so brilliant.
Absolutely. I do get insecure at times, but the way that I get out of that, and I get out of it pretty quickly, I just think about all the the legendary artists that we saw throughout hip hop and then throughout like music in general. You think of
Yeah.
Drake. Nobody was really singing. Everybody clowned Drake when he first came out because he was singing. And not
Yeah.
like the singing terribly on purpose that rappers would usually doing, like singing off key on purpose. He was dead ass singing on key,
Trying.
singing the correct notes, and he was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" But he kept doing it, and then now he's Drake. You know,
Yeah.
Kanye, when the pink polos, just doing shit that you didn't see rappers do, and he just kept doing it, and then it became their thing. Lil Dicky, who else? Ludacris, Missy Elliott, people who were really like doing unique shit that people did not understand at first, and then they just kept going and going and going and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and now you see people copying them, and I'm starting to see
100%.
people copy me
No,
too.
I am
You know what I'm
too.
saying?
I'm
Like
starting to see it.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
yo, when did you start putting subtitles in your videos? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Nah,
seeing
I'm
it.
starting
I'm
to,
seeing
yeah.
it, but to answer your question, I do get insecure about that, but I just think about the people before me who were the first to do what they do, and now they're pioneers in what they do. And I feel like eventually I'll be a pioneer in what I do as I keep doing things that nobody have seen before. And I'm not doing it for the sake of being the first to do something or be an innovator. I'm just using what I think in my brain is cool, doing stuff that I would like to see my favorite artists do. And I'm like, if you don't see it, and make it yourself. That's just really how
Yeah.
I look at it.
Oh,
Yeah, a
that's me.
lot. Yeah, a lot of it is like it goes back to you being willing to do that research, like you spending the time on TikTok and
Yeah.
watching videos and being because bro, like a lot of people around me, I'm guilty of it sometimes. Like I go on that app and I've gotten used to it, but it's hard sometimes to even spend 10 minutes on that app for
It's you
people that
spend
aren't used to
hours.
it.
You
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you spend hours once you get sucked in, you know?
Oh, you're talking about before you really understand it. It's hard for people to just like stay on it.
100%, because like
Mm-hmm.
you said it right. Oh, it's like it's a children's app, and we're past that point. Like I
Yeah.
think, like if you're not, then and you work in music or entertainment, it's kind of silly. I think at this point, but yeah, you were willing to do the research, and the research generated ideas and thoughts, which I think like you just ran with it, which I admire.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna lie to you. It was pretty scary, just because it's a risk. You know what I mean? Because you run the risk of being labeled the internet rapper or the TikTok
Yeah.
rapper
Right.
or et cetera, et cetera. So that's another reason why I do it in this specific way that I do it, so that it transcends just being on the internet,
Yeah.
and that's why I talk about the topics that I do too, where I'm not being hacky, comedic all the time. Hey, I
Mhm.
gotta, I'm not doing hacky shit. I'm really talking about like real topics, real shit that we read
Uh,
books about, real shit that we like think about on a day-to-day basis. And I think just that little specific thing that I do makes me transcend the internet rapper tag. And then of course there's people that still give me that internet rapper tag,
yeah.
but eventually it's not gonna be that.
No, because I almost made the mistake. If I would have just went with New Crib,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been there. But something in my spirit, dog, told me to nah. Cause you seeing a little bit of shit in there, dog. That's the thing. You
Mm-hmm.
putting little tidbits in there that
Keeping the
that
50
let
times too,
that let you know that like, wait a minute, this nigga can kind of rap, bro.
Uh-huh.
So for me to like, okay, bet. And then when you scroll down and you start to get into like even the workout joint, I'm like, yo. And then once you put the uni out, I remember when you first sent me uni, I was just like, dog,
Yeah, it's real.
bro, this is the yeah, like this is somebody who is extremely talented, but just has the courage to do it in such a unique way and just
Yeah.
embrace it because what we do know is I do know that you are very confident in your pen,
Mm-hmm.
extremely confident in your pen. So any little insecurity that you may have in the way that you put it out, I think the confidence and the knowing of what you can do when it comes to rap
It
kind
saves me.
of, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, it saves you because you like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
bro, don't get it twisted, bro, because I will bar you niggas.
And
I
I
will
will.
bar you. I
You
will
know what
bar
I
you
mean?
niggas out.
Yeah. But it's not even
Don't
about
put
that
me in
for
a
me
box.
anymore, too. Like, it's not
Yeah,
even about that for me anymore, too, just because it's like, and I said this in another interview where it's like, I don't really care about showing people I'm the best rapper or anything like that. Of course, I want to show
That
What
means
happened?
that wow, you're operating not in your ego.
Nah,
Wow.
nah. I mean,
That's
sometimes. I mean, sometimes.
amazing.
Sometimes.
Mhm.
But I
No, but
used
in
to. Go ahead.
exactly. But in what you're doing now, you're actually doing it in a way of where like you care about connecting more than you care about your ego.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it makes and like in the back on the back end of it, it then makes people feel like I'm the best rapper anyway. But I'm not trying to do that because it
Yeah.
doesn't really serve any purpose for me anymore. Maybe when I was in my early 20s where I just wanted to like be the best and stand out and everything like that, that's maybe I cared about it then. I wanted to be in the top five or the
Right.
top one really. But nobody's ever the best rapper forever. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is just something that I'm gonna keep chasing. And if I get it, then when I don't have it, it's gonna crush me. So this is not something that I should value. I should just value making meaningful work, connecting to the people, making some bread while I do it,
Yeah.
and going
But
over vacations and playing ball. You know what I
but
mean?
at least it sounds like you rapping in your purpose though. It's
Yeah,
Mhm.
purposeful. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
if you I think before and because I've always said like hip hop is such an ego driven genre that like
hell yeah,
everybody's just so like I'm better than it's easy to get sucked up in it and forget like the responsibility that you actually have because people
hmm
actually listen to every single word that you say and these words will be out there and when you put it out there it'll be out there forever, so it's like it's very important that you understand like what you're saying and like especially when you build it up to a place where you have fans and you have people hitting your DMs and people commenting like yo you changed my life or
yes.
yo this song is like it really puts it in perspective and like yo I need to be actually doing something that matters.
Yes, and those are worth more. Those messages are worth more than the goat emojis and the fire emojis and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like, oh, this he's up next. I don't that the you changed my life,
yeah,
or I was able to have a conversation with my dad about emotions.
yeah,
Those mean way more to me than the oh you up next kind of stuff.
100%,
You know what I
man.
mean?
Feel that.
It's ironic. Like even right now, like the largest conversation amongst the quote unquote like biggest rappers, maybe of right now,
Mhm.
are still about like, yo, who's number one? It's like, yo, we're fighting over number one, two, three, like
Yeah,
four. Like what? You know what I mean? It's like, but it's like constant, like that's really what you hear, you know?
Really is.
And I think, Payne, you had like a key word to me that popped out where you said like, yo, you embraced it, right? Because so many artists, we see it whenever we work with especially new and artists that we know are obviously really talented, where they don't embrace putting something out very easily at times, because once something's out, like it's out, and that's the
yeah,
representation of you as an artist. Um, but it's just, I really respect the way you're doing it because you're getting inspired by creative ideas. You're using the skills that you have or working on them in real time, whether it's video editing or whatever, to get your message out there, and you're just rolling with it.
yeah. It's all on the
And
job training for me right now.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
and it's always gonna be that. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's all I really was saying. And I think like, your story is evolving because of that, versus you sitting and trying to figure out a perfect way to do it in a way that like doesn't scare you. You're just like,
hmm
you're out there, you're putting it out there, and it's like it oozes creativity in a way that like I don't think we see a lot of right now, because there's this there's this separation between a creator and an artist in a way, in like modern times, right? um and they can both be the same thing. Some creators don't have to necessarily be artists or musicians, but like I see you as like just a genuinely artistic creator.
hmm
Exactly.
And that's that
Yeah.
absolutely on purpose, just because I don't want to be put in a box as just a rapper too. So I look at guys like Lil Dicky, I mentioned him again. I look at guys like Childish Gambino, Chance the
Yeah.
Rapper is starting to do that himself too, where it's like, oh, it's not just this.
Yeah.
And that's that. If anything, if we were talking about ego, if my ego cares about anything, it's really just that, just not being seen as just a rapper. I really want to be seen as someone so much more than that, because in the future I'm going to be showing that I do much more than that. There was something I was about to talk about, I forgot. Oh, you was talking about like how artists um or just people in general, or me, like just not caring about how perfect it is. And I was saying how scary it was at first, because I'm like, yo, this is not gonna be perfect. This doesn't look perfect.
Yeah.
And the shift really came from when I read this book called The Four Agreements. You ever heard of that book?
No,
Yeah,
what's
I've
about?
heard of it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah. So the Four Agreements centers around
You know the
it's a
author?
short, it's the Don Miguel Ruiz.
Gotcha.
Don Miguel Ruiz. So the book centers around um this guy, the author, he talks about these this ancient civilization called the Toltecs,
Mm.
and they're the principles that they live by, which are these four agreements. Um, always do your best, which is self-explanatory, but always do your best. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and be impeccable with your word. The
Mm.
main things that I took from that was the don't make assumptions and don't take anything personally. And when
Mm.
he's what they meant by don't take anything personally, it doesn't mean just like the the negative stuff. It also
Mm.
means the positive stuff too. Don't let
Mm.
any comments or any opinions of what you do change who you are. So I had
Mm.
to really just separate my work from my I don't put my self-esteem in how well people receive my work. And that was like
Mm.
very important for me, because I talk to artists all the time. If somebody says they don't like your shit, we end up taking it as like, oh, they don't like us.
Yeah.
And I really had to say, nah, they just, they probably just don't feel this. And that's okay. There's an audience for everything.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to be very, very comfortable with seeing a comment where somebody's saying, hey, maybe I don't like this, and being like, all right, that's cool. I'm still do what I am trying to do. And that has allowed me to be so vulnerable and just try to push the envelope with anything that I do, where I can make a new crib with like subpar lighting, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I'm fucking dancing around the fucking crib in a robe. And I see all the mistakes in that video. There's like 10 mistakes in that video, but people don't even care about that. They're not
Yeah.
watching it as they're not watching it as diligently
Yeah.
and as I am as the editor and as the whatever. And I find a lot of comfort in that, just because I know it's not that deep and perfection doesn't exist. And that's to answer your question earlier. I forgot to say that part. Yeah, it's just I can't be perfect, so I don't try to be perfect.
Man, I think or what I also respect about you, dog, is as you're going through this process of like learning, and putting the work in, like Troy said, of like what works, and of course, like you're shedding the stereotypes and being out of the box as a rapper, but
Yeah.
also as a marketer as well. Like you take your rapper hat off, your editor hat off, and then you go and market. And I think that's super important and respectful that you like have taken what you known and in real time are trying to give back to other independent artists and like teach them the game, and like, yo, setting up seminars, and like, yo, you can doing consulting, like
Hmm.
talk to me about that, about what made you be like, yo, I want to help people as I'm going through this process.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know what Phil's talking about, I do one-on-one consultations with artists and just help them with how to use what's now the only way to get your songs heard, which is social media and using the social platform. It's really like the only way now. Um, and how to market themselves. And the reason why I do it is because I think about the times that I quit making
Mm.
music. I didn't have anybody who's at the stage that I'm at now just telling me like, yo, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. This is how you do this. Don't do that. I had to figure out on my own and like make so much mistakes that I so many avoidable mistakes.
Yeah.
If I just had somebody in my corner saying, yo, don't do that. You know what I mean? Do this,
Man,
and this is how you do it. And I find it's so fulfilling. And I didn't expect to feel as whole as I do now doing it. When I first started, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going, put people on game because I wish people did it to me. But now that I'm actually in these calls and they're like, I can see it in their eyes, like, yo, this is the missing piece. I don't understand social media. I fucking hate social media. I don't want to do it. But you gave me some perspective on how to do it where I'm not draining and draining myself out, and it's actually fun. And I'm glad that I could do that for people because I wish there
It's
was
amazing.
somebody in the blog era that told me how to fucking do it. I wish there was
Yeah,
somebody in the other era, in the radio era, that showed me how to do this. And now that we're
yeah,
in the social era and the internet era, like I'm glad I can be that person and like just put people on game and see and show that I'm doing this, how to do this and how to do it for free too.
yeah.
And yeah, it's super fulfilling.
What
It's
Amazing.
what are
What's
some
up?
of the what are some of like the marketing kind of strategies you have? I'm not saying like necessarily specifics or whatever, but like how do you look at marketing and how did you figure out how to take this content and market it beyond just posting it?
Yeah, so what I started to do, and I say this in the course too, I stopped looking at my social media profiles as profiles and started looking at it as channels, right? I just look at it like, people who are scrolling through their TV with the remote. If you still got cable, people probably still don't got do this no more.
Yeah.
But you're scrolling through your channels trying to find something to watch. It's the same as you scrolling on Instagram or scrolling through TikTok, just trying to fill a void, trying to find something that's entertaining for you. So whenever I make content, I look at it like that. What is going to stop people? What is going to make someone stop scrolling and watch this? And then once I put that TV producer hat on, as opposed to just like, hey, I'm gonna post something to get some likes, that shifts everything. And it makes you think of different ways and you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. And I say consumer because I just like have an entrepreneurial mind at all times, and it's kind of annoying. But the consumer, you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer, and like, yo, what will make this person stop scrolling? And yeah, once you start, I start with that, and then I just build ideas off of that.
Mm.
And I'm purposely not saying too much too,
Yeah, yeah,
because I
yeah.
still charge for this.
Right?
But
So
you know what I
I
mean?
No,
feel you. I feel
I
you.
just want, yeah, I just want like a glimpse into the mindset, you know? It's like when you go to the mall and they give you like the Chinese restaurant gives you a little piece of chicken, on the toothpick, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
go and you buy the full plate. Like I think that's what we're looking at here. But on I also see that you engage you take feedback from your audience in a
Yes,
certain way. I want you
yes.
to talk about that a little bit if you can,
So
because I think
so
that, yeah.
that's another thing that I learned from Gary V. Like I love Gary V is like one of the
Yeah,
kind of responsible for what's going on here. But he was saying, hey, listen, read the comments. And that's another reason why I read the book. That why I take
Have
that
you
book so
contacted him yet? Have you been in contact with him yet?
not yet, not yet. I didn't know how. I wanted to like gain a little bit more popularity so that he sees a blue
Okay.
check in his DM.
Right.
So he's like, okay, I'll respond now. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just wanted to yeah, he said like just you want to know how to grow your business, read the comments. They are
Yeah.
telling you what you need to do. It's so
Wow.
easy. And I'm like, oh, they literally are saying what they want me to do. So let me take that feedback and these are the people who I'm doing it for. So like, yeah, let me listen to them and let me listen to what not to do and let me listen to what to do. And then that's really what I've been doing. Customer feedback is I keep saying customer consumer.
It helped.
It's just what it is. Like feedback is what helps you grow your business. And you can't
Yeah.
take it personally. If somebody says, hey, I didn't like that you did that, stop doing it.
Yeah.
Unless
Mhm.
unless in the back of your head you're like, no, you're gonna end up liking it. But don't make sure it's not your ego saying that. Make sure it's like they just don't. Make sure it's a matter of them not understanding it yet, and not your
Mhm.
ego saying, "Oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about." But
Yeah.
customer feedback is super important when it comes to growing your business. Just listen to the people, and you cannot go wrong. You know?
You ever have a moment as an artist where you're hearing feedback and it's not bad feedback, but you're like, I don't want to go in that direction.
Yeah,
But
there's
yeah.
there's times where somebody wants me to do an idea that I've like before they even said it, I'm like, yo, this is like corny as shit. and I know you want me to do this because you see that I can do a lot of things, but I tried to do this and this is just corny as fuck and I can't do it. But that's really the only times that where I'm like,
Mm.
you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like there
But
was, I'm not even gonna say it actually.
but
No.
what I will say is that you definitely had the most creative flyer or promotion of a show because I still got the song in my stuck in my head.
Yes,
October
sir.
12th. Pull up
Pull up
on
on
me.
me.
Yo, that shit is hard. That shit is hard, dog. I was like, yo, did he just put out a rap flyer? Yo, if you could just hand this to people, dog, yo, that
Yeah.
shit is
Yes, sir.
tough. What made you think of even marketing? Because I think a lot of artists, you know, I think they're getting better at it now because they're
Mhm.
seeing um, the effect on their career when they are more personable on social medias. But you got to talk about how, like, some people, some artists, like, they're like, yo, I'm not a social media person. I put my
Everyone,
content, I
everyone
put
says
my
it.
content, you know what I'm saying? I put my content out, I make art, that's it. But it's just like, if you're in the music business, if you're in the, consumer bit, like, it's like you have to be able to do both, to execute both.
Hmm.
Like, it's just, even if you do have a team, like, it's so important that you get
There has to be a
creative,
strategy.
yeah, and promote your own
Yeah.
art. Like, it's yours. You do
Hmm.
want people to
It's
listen
yours.
to it, right?
Yeah, don't be like you actually doing yourself a disservice by saying no, I don't want to do that. That's like being in the radio era and saying, yo, I can't do that radio shit. Or I can't, that's exactly what that is.
That's
And no,
exactly what it's
but people like I said, I'll answer the question too. Like
yeah,
people when I was saying earlier, you can't look at your social media account as a profile anymore. And I think many
yeah,
artists still look at it as a profile, like it's fucking
yeah,
Facebook or MySpace. But no, this is your channel, bro. This is
yeah,
everything you, because like not a lot of people are gonna see your EPK. Not a lot of people are gonna go to your website. They're gonna go to your social media accounts, and that's where you have to deliver and then convert these views and these clicks to your website and then to your Spotify and everything like that. This is a lot of the times people's first introduction to you. So you really got to make it count. What made me think about doing that flyer in a video format was just seeing the engagement that I get from pictures versus videos,
yeah,
and then understanding that Instagram is no longer a picture app,
yeah,
and they announced that this is no longer a picture app. We are a short form video content app. Honestly, if they can change their name to Reels, they would definitely do it. But because Instagram is so popular
yeah,
as a name, they
Hmm.
can't do that. But Instagram is Reels now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I'm like, if I post a picture flyer, which I did, yeah, it's gonna get engagement. Oh, it's gonna say, oh yeah, you got a show in New York, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's not. There's flyers all over Instagram where there's a party here, there's a cookout here, whatever. Everybody's posting flyers, but nobody has done a music video for as a flyer. And I'm like, people are gonna remember this more if there's a catchy hook, just like any song, and just like how you remembered it. You didn't even watch the
yeah.
video just now. You just remembered it.
October
People
12th.
are going to remember this if I just do it, and then I do a little bit of finessing on the video with the big red
Yeah,
October 12th
Letters.
date on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, the big red letters and stuff like that. People are gonna remember it more. So I'm like, fuck, this is hard as fuck, but there's gonna be great results to this. And on that day, I think I got a 1,000 clicks on my website on the link just because of that.
crazy,
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
incredible
Take us
job on
take us through the show, like just everything about it, because you basically said that this new era, it built out of the pandemic time. No
Hmm.
shows, you were like using content in an extremely creative way.
Yeah.
So stuff's opening back up. You're in New York, first show in New York. Like, how does this all come about? And then what's the process for you? Like, I'm assuming there's some untraditional sort of. I'm assuming there's some DIY to this show that you've put together, but maybe I'm wrong.
So when it comes to the show, well, when it comes to shows in general, it's I mean, before I started doing content, that was the most fun I've had making music, being able to party with people while performing my music. It's really a party. These shows are. But I come from a theater background again. I've written shows before, like a plays, like where there's a beginning, middle, and end, and I like to I'll say this, like I'm gonna add that kind of twist to this show coming up. Like and um I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous about it.
As
But
you
you
should be.
know,
I'm excited, man. I'm
you
excited to see.
know what I mean? So
Wait,
but
October 12th. I'm gonna be in New York.
Me
pull
too,
up on
man.
I
me.
just realized. Oh, really? Yeah, let's go. Payne, you're gonna be there?
Yeah, I was trying to surprise this guy,
Oh,
but he
But
ended up
I'm Carmen San Diego, bro.
he
I
ended up
just realized I'm back on the
getting my
11th.
leak.
Yeah.
He ended up getting in touch with my leak, and now he knows that I'm coming.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, no,
But
but
anyways, yeah.
shows are my bread and butter just because I like performing. And I like seeing people. I like
Yeah,
being human interaction is like one is just necessary for us as people, but I know for me personally, I can get all these comments and all these followers and all these DMs, but sometimes they feel like NPCs to me. They feel like
yeah,
bots to me. But with seeing the
Mm.
people in real life, I'm like, oh, this is real.
yeah,
This is a good time.
yeah.
So I'm very very excited about this, and it's the first live show in 2 years. That's about
Wow.
me. It's not me like doing like a 5-10 minute set at a event, but this is like a real
A headline.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
dope. It's really dope.
I'm
Wait,
excited.
I'm excited.
yeah. So did you kind of handle this yourself, or do you have did you have people help you put this together?
Yeah, so it's mostly me and my manager slash friend Envy, like just setting this up. And I've
Mhm.
worked the promotion that I'm working with. I've done shows with them in the past too. So it was like, yo, you're the only promoter in NYC who I know that has access to these venues. Like, let's do some.
Yeah,
Mm.
And then we came up with a cool what's the word, structure of how this is gonna go. And I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
this sounds right. Let's do it. Let's do this at this venue. You know, let's do this. Basically,
Yeah.
it was pretty. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty easy. Just because of I worked with this promotion before
yeah.
or booking agent. I don't know the term. I'm still figuring it out. But yeah, it was pretty easy. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
pretty.
yeah. Um,
It was just a matter of when, really.
got you, got you. I think just going back a little bit to talking about sort of just like being an entertainer,
Yeah.
what do you see as like do you think about what the next 2, 5, 10 years look like? Or like where does your head go when you think about where you want to go, or how you kind of look at all this?
So it's kind of tricky because I do have like a thought. I do have a thought process, and do have some goals that like I would like to reach in the next 5 years. But I think of this quote in the movie Parasite when a guy is like, yo, the guy was like, a plan is like laughing at God, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can have a 5 year plan, but shit does not look the same in 5 years. Nobody expected
Definitely.
this to be what it is 5 years ago. I didn't expect it to be like posting videos on social media platforms as a means to gain fans and stuff like that 5 years ago. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. I didn't know NFTs were going to exist 5 years ago. I didn't
Yeah.
know, there's going to be new shit 5 years from now where I can't even plan for. But I still have to have something in mind. So that involves like hosting shows or award shows if award shows still exist 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of believable. Um, Hosting award shows, writing scripted TV series, um, you know, moving into that space of like of film and TV. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a
Yeah.
limited series, maybe it's something, or documentaries too. Just something, just creating shit basically.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
You reference Lil Dicky a couple of times. I think he's an interesting reference because um he obviously has such a unique lane
Hmm.
as somebody that started rapping. He's obviously heavily, heavily based in comedy.
Yeah.
Um, but I think you have a large comedic aspect to just you as a human being that kind of comes through in your music, even when you're talking about serious subject matters, which I think
Yeah.
is important because it helps make it more relatable. Like just the ability to laugh at yourself in a sense, right? Is important. But yeah, I think of him too, like, thinking about where he was a few years ago. I think it was like people knew he was really intelligent, couldn't take that away from him. But it was like, the
Right.
music, like, you take it seriously, do you not take it seriously? Um, even if he was having huge records.
Yeah.
And then into the show, I'm assuming you watched
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah. I love Dave.
Yeah, I love Dave
Yeah.
too. You watch Dave and you're like, oh, like I see,
This is
I
what he was trying to do.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, whether he knew it or not, it was just leading to something much bigger. Like the talent eventually just explodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just, yeah, for those aspects, I think it's a really interesting reference, because even when he was popping and big, like I don't think he was taken as seriously as he should have been.
Right.
Now it's a different story. Now he's a Hollywood celebrity, but I think that goes a lot to like what you're doing, is like, I don't know. Just sort of where I see it.
So the thing, and the reason why I reference him so much, there is somebody
It's
speeding,
New
and
York.
they're probably racing right now.
Might be on a
But
dirt bike.
no, that's definitely a race car. But
Yeah.
the reason why I reference him so much is because I like what he does, but I see certain mistakes that he made that I think if he didn't make, it would people like you said, people would have taken him more seriously as a rapper too.
Yeah.
One, he's like heavily comedic in his stuff, and kind of like where he's like the purpose of this song is to be funny. It's
Mhm.
not to like,
Mhm.
think or anything. Like I just want to be funny and show that I'm a good rapper. That's what I was getting from that.
Yeah.
And he's kind of shifted that, of course, but I also did not want to make the mistake of doing that,
Yeah.
because then that will then put me in the box that so many people put Lil Dicky in. And
Yeah.
also it helps that I'm black, so I'm just cooler because of
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so it's just I'm a little bit cooler in that aspect. But I think he's like super brilliant just because of the way that he goes about doing what he did. He's another person that again did something that we saw nobody really do, and
It's
he
true.
became successful at it. And yeah, so that's why I reference him so much, because I'm like, you're doing something, you're clearly smart. And I'm gonna pull from certain things that you do, and I'm not ashamed of saying that I take things from everybody, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull certain things that you do and like implement it in my stuff, and that's why you see what he's doing, where he's at right now, doing with the show, and then Childish Gambino is another person that does that same thing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully, we
yeah,
could look back
Childish
at
is.
this interview and see me saying this, and I'm doing
Oh,
exactly
Think we
that.
oh
will.
yeah, bro. I have
Yeah,
no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind, man. Um, you are one of the creatives that that I've met that has a very, very strong conviction when it comes to your vision and like
hmm
as who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of artists, it takes them a while to like figure out who they are and like what they stand for and like what they actually want to portray to the audience and
yeah.
what they want to be known for. But for you, I think as you start to put the content out, because it's so real and authentic, you start to like kind of find like yourself and like what you like, and it just gets stronger and stronger and more direct and like more clear, you know what I'm saying, and more calculated.
And
That's
that's
what it
exactly
feels like.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening too. Because to be transparent, and I think I said this earlier, I still don't exactly know exactly what I'm doing. I'm still trying
Yeah,
to figure it out.
of
It's still
course.
on the job training, and sometimes I'm like, "Fuck, am I doing the right thing?" And I do a really good job of looking at making it look easy, but it's not. It's
Of course
it's
you
No,
do.
not.
it's not
You know what
easy.
I'm saying?
We
It's
know
it.
just
Yeah,
from even doing a podcast, like, which
Yeah.
is,
yeah, man.
I've gotten to the point where it's plugging in my mic and my camera for the most part. But when we
Yeah.
started, it was like, even making content yourself in general is just tough,
Yes.
It's a lot.
especially when you're cutting it up, reformatting it for different sort of
Hmm.
platforms. You're
Yeah.
adding in certain little things here and there, testing it on Finstas, whatever it kind of looks like that
Mhm.
shit takes time, and it more than anything takes patience.
Yeah.
You know,
And then you realize you gotta
Yeah.
speak a different way too. Like you gotta,
That's very
not
true.
yeah, it's not like you have to, be fake in the way that you speak and not speak naturally, but you have to do it in a different way because there's an audience at the
Yeah.
same time too. Like I listen to like you know how you were listening to Howard Stern on the way to school with your parents. I was listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show and listening to the Wendy Williams Show with Charlemagne, and I listen to Charlemagne's podcast. I listen to Charlemagne every fucking day. The fuck his my inner voice is his voice now at this point. But it's like I hear how he speaks about doing radio and how you do podcasts, and you have to like do it in a specific way where you're still being your natural self, but you have to understand that there's people listening to you at the same
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
and that's just some of the nuances that people don't really realize, and that's how. But if you do it well, you make it look like that's not even the case. You just another day at work for you.
No, the repetition, it's all about repetition and being consistent because Troy, I used to, um, I would tell Troy like, yo, I feel like like a bit of imposter syndrome us doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? Because like of course we're not perfect and we're just starting it
Mm,
um and Troy was like, yo, everybody's a fucking imposter, dog. Before
everybody.
you know what I'm saying? Until you actually start doing it and like with the consistency, like in the repetition, like then that's when it starts to become natural. Then you start to you become what you're doing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like it all takes the repetition and just
Side
keep
question:
going.
Is your camera like a cornea or something? You clear as fuck.
I
It's
know,
Payne?
like
right?
it's
Yeah,
like
some
yeah,
whole
it's
shit,
like a
right?
Payne's got a crazy camera.
it's just
Payne's literally got a crazy setup.
it's a fucking eyeball that's recording it right
Yeah.
now. That
Cornea.
shit- like,
Yeah, I just took that in. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, is that a type of camera? Like, I've never even heard of a cornea.
Is better.
Yeah.
like the fuck, like you
Pip,
look great right now, bro. What the this is
Thank
Pip,
you,
great.
man.
has
Thank you.
no one's thrown you money yet just to like how like I'm just being honest, like
I'm
just to
throwing
make your content like just so you can have more options of what to do. Like,
Yes.
all right, good.
Of
Because
course.
like, yeah,
Because it's getting crazy right now.
yeah,
At this
like
point. It's just
it's
getting
just
out of pocket.
yeah, like I don't care, like there's too many like purists in this business, right? Like
Yeah.
at least because working this business, but I'm like I look at this, I'm like this is a great investment. Like I don't, just as like somebody who's making fucking product and making music and making content, I'm like, yo, like
It's
I hope
really
someone
fun
just,
over here.
yeah,
It's as fun as it looks. So like if you
yeah,
like people that want to be a part of it, like I get it. It's
yeah.
it's lit.
So,
You know what I mean?
how are you still independent?
Yeah, I'm still independent.
Oh, okay, man.
I'm still in it.
How do you feel about that? Like, are you open into signing to sign to a like? What is your theory on the whole thing?
So, and you and I had this conversation. Like, I'm trying to not be
We talk
Russ
about
up.
it every day. I try to sign you every single. I try to talk to. Hey guys, I want to be completely transparent. I try
No, go
to
ahead.
sign this guy every day. Every day I'm checking his temperature. What are you doing? What's going on? How do you feel? What can I do for you? What I'll send you whatever contract that you would like. How much
No,
money
but
do you need?
it,
Every day.
I do want your answer on that, Pip, but before you go, I just want to say, like, I think you have, my personal opinion
Yeah,
is, if it's welcome,
it's welcome.
all right, cool, is if you have to maintain a level, you have to maintain the creative control. There's no doubt, no doubt in my mind.
100%.
You can't, like, for what you have now, you can't have, you need more support. You don't need people telling you what to do, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
when it comes to that. And you can decide who's a trusted ear or not. And then it's outside of that, I'm like, I think of labels, and I'm not saying there's not a right one out there and trying to get in the way of this process, but it's like almost when I see you and the way you make content, the way you make art, I'm like, it needs like somebody that really understands that they're supporting like a content house too. Like someone with the ability, and I don't need like, I look
Yes.
at like the music
Yeah.
as like one, like whoever's working on your music, like is working on like this part of the pie. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like labels think that they're you know, they're doing this. It's the 360.
Nah,
It's everything. We do everything. You don't do everything.
nah.
You don't do everything. You know, like you work on the music, or you give funding, right? And I say that
Yeah.
like not in a disrespectful way, but when I think of someone like you, it's the perfect example of like, did Lil Dicky sign to a label and then they also helped him do the Hulu
No,
show? I don't think so. My
no way.
gut tells me no. You
I
know?
don't think so.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, and you hit it right on the head. So I am not against signing to a label, but I expand my thought process on it to go beyond just a music label, because like you said,
Yeah,
this is a production company.
Yeah.
It's not
basically.
just
Yeah,
an artist making music, shooting music videos, performing at award shows. This is something very, very new, that there's no standard contract that can say that there's no standard contract that can read and say, oh, this makes sense for me because what
yeah.
I'm doing is not standard. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
with that being said though, like the type of in it I go be when I think about this, I go beyond record labels. Maybe sign to a production company, maybe sign or partner up with a production company, or partner up with somebody with a lot of fucking bread and a lot of connections. I don't know. Like I really
Yeah.
do not know exactly what makes the most sense to me. Probably because I'm gonna have to be the one that creates what that is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
at the same time, I'm still like in the process of doing what I'm doing, and I just don't know exactly what I need just yet, which is
Yeah.
why I haven't done it just yet.
Yeah,
Does the
there's a unique individual or individuals out there that that would provide the right value to you. I don't know if they're going to be
Yes.
the easiest to find, and I
Yes.
don't know if it's a one-stop shop type of environment, but for sure there's people that are going to wake up and be like, "Oh, like yeah, this guy's going to make a lot of really valuable content."
Yes.
Whether he's
value?
in it in the writing room, you know, writing scripts,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, producing it, choosing other creators, like I do see that. And it makes I'm excited because just from like a business standpoint, I think of how exciting that is for the future of content businesses. And you
Real
Mm-hmm.
talk.
touching into music about what that like you're paving the way for people that want to make music, but also, you know, want to prove that they're valuable production companies.
Yes,
No,
exactly.
it's
And
real.
it's bigger. It's bigger than music. And I've learned this as I've this is like I said, this is very new to me. And I figured this out over the last year. It's not something that I thought of in 2019, but I'm like, oh shit, this is bigger. This is exactly what I want. This is exactly what I wanted to happen. I just didn't know that this is what I wanted. But to answer, like to reiterate, it's like I just need to figure out what it is exactly that I'm trying to do and
Mm.
go beyond the on the job training and like now be the fucking I don't know what the analogy. You know what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like what it is exactly that I'm trying to do. And then I can, you know, think of the people who I already have connections to or people who I want to make connections with to like make that a thing.
Does
Like
the
go
the
ahead.
yeah? I was like just seeing you, but I remember when I first got into NFTs and started doing the research on it, and especially on the music side. Like, is that something that you've done research on and like that excites you?
Hell yeah. And I'm working on something now. So the only thing is I'm being purposely vague. I'm being vague about this on purpose.
No, it's fine.
The
What excites
technology,
you the most? What excites you the most about it?
the fact that it's decentralized.
Yeah.
I'm big on decentralization, if that's a word. Just cutting out the middleman
Hmm.
cutting out the middleman that doesn't need to be a middleman. I'm all for middlemen. Like
Yeah.
middlemen exist for a reason, and that's great. But if you do not serve any value as a middleman and you're only a middleman just because traditionally we needed middlemen,
Yeah.
I'm not for that.
I
You know what I
feel
Mm.
mean?
that.
And what I love about NFTs and I love what about crypto and blockchain in general is that it just cuts out the unnecessary middleman and nobody knows what the fuck to do about it, and that's beautiful. Like it's already it's already out in the
It's out
ethos.
there.
It's
Niggas
out
don't know
already, and
what to do.
nobody knows how to stop it. And it's like, oh yeah, it's lit. Like there's an artist who she was saying that I think her name was Latasha. She was getting royalties like from $40 to $120 every 6 months. And she's like, fuck, how do I make money as an artist? Then she put one of her songs up as just an NFT, and she made 3 bands just off of that. And I'm like, oh, there's a different kind of like community of people in this. It's just a bunch of people with a bunch of bread wanting to buy shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like that. They don't even have to be music fans. They don't have to be film fans. They just want to find things that are dope to them and own it.
Yeah.
And it just creates a whole different ecosystem for creatives and just anybody who wants to do something to like make some bread and then cut out the people that don't need to be a part of it.
Yeah,
I
and to have
think
passive income is really cool for people that because usually you would have to be super duper rich to like have passive income.
Yeah.
But in this space where um royalties get and you get the kickback for, you know, forever, basically. You know what I'm saying? Is really cool to see it happen. Especially for artists and creatives who have for so long been told the price of their art and haven't been able to dictate the price. And now for the
Now
first
you
time,
can.
yeah.
Now you can. And what I'm trying to do, the technology for it doesn't exist yet, but there's different companies making that technology right now. So once that's lit, it's lit.
Yeah. What was you
Just
gonna
like
say,
that.
Troy?
I was gonna say, I think one of the things I somebody put in my head recently that was interesting way to think about NFTs is other than it being about selling art, it's like you can use the concept of an NFT as building like a subscriber base, sort of like a really cool Patreon, right? Where um if you buy, let's say, an NFT, because for example, like I think like concert tickets are going to become NFTs, right? Where like Dua Lipa's concert ticket, like any sale on the secondary market, she's getting and Live Nation's getting a percentage of, right? Just because they're creating those electronic tickets as NFTs. But imagine you launched, call it 1,000 NFTs, and let's just say it was like your logo or whatever, right? Nothing particularly artistic. It's just like a pass. It's like a credential. And if I buy one and you give away, maybe it gives me free lifetime VIP access to your shows, right? Maybe when you drop videos, I have access electronically to early premiere of those videos. It's or if if you make content and you don't put extended versions out like some content creators do, not really artists as much, they have their Patreons, like come follow my Patreon, I'll give you everything there, right? So it starts to become just access to a subscriber base basically, right? Which is where how I thought when I thought of that was it's really sick. Like one of the artists we work with wants to make like a magazine, essentially a digital magazine. It's like one of the things he's talked about. And I'm like, yo, it's sick, but it has to give you more value than just the ability to open that thing on your computer and look at it. It's got to be something like, a pair of tickets every time we're in your city, or something
there has to
like
be some
that.
kind of value to it. I forgot. I don't know who said it. I think the CEO of fuck. I think the guy from Beeple. The guy that he's made $69 on selling. He was like, gone are the days of just like meaningless NFTs where you just you buy it and it has to have some kind of value now.
Yeah,
He
the
said,
utility is the most important thing. Like people need to be able to use it in real life.
Or it just has to mean something to them.
Yeah. Because there's a difference between like just pure fit, like art as an NFT. Like people is art, like art, and rightfully so. He's been a digital artist for years. The music community has known about him. Like I think he designed like Zed's like visuals on a tour like 5 years ago, 7 years ago. And, you know, he was making a couple $100,000 to do it. Like he was a premier visual designer for a lot of these artists. So like he naturally rose, you know, and now is being recognized as his own artist. You know, obviously, and there's other people that are in that realm. But then yeah, there's like the shit projects that just like, you know, like I go and generate like 10,000 images and I'm like, this is, you know, me
Yeah.
looking like an anime character. So buy it. But it's like, no, but if I'm somebody that like you pay attention to or you want access to, or I can provide value to you, I need to give you that through the NFT, you know,
Yeah.
and in return you're giving me value by buying it, and me having a percentage of those sales. But yeah, the subscriber base, I just put that out there because I thought it was really interesting for me as somebody that works in music and thinks about like the music business, you know, naturally I think, oh, like that makes me grasp the concept a lot more, when it comes to like the people I work with
Oh, that's real.
versus
I
like
don't even
my
know how to
artist. Yeah.
I don't even know how to follow up on that because you basically like said what I was about to say too.
Oh, it just makes me excited. It really does make me
Yeah.
excited because um I feel like it's starting to, well, artists, I mean, and especially like you, do making more and more example of like how how if you put in the work, you can connect without a corporation. You can cut through. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because I think there's so many artists that hit you in the DM, hit all of us in the DM. We're like, yo, how do like, I need to find a manager, or I need to find a this, or I need to find a that. No, like you can actually connect yourself if you just focus on the quality of the content and you're consistent. You
But
know what I'm saying?
there is a chink in my armor when it comes to how I'm doing it, and it's something I did recognize, and I'm still trying to figure out how to like remedy it. Is
Yeah,
that I'm still doing this on somebody else's platform. So
it's
Of
true.
course.
if Instagram is done, I'm essentially kind of done. You know what I mean? If
Yeah,
TikTok is done, if TikTok is gone, hey, I'm kind of gone too. Because I
yeah.
remember, and I've been thinking about this ever since uh when I was just only popular on TikTok and not Instagram. Trump was about to dead that shit, and I was
Yeah.
like, fuck.
Fuck.
I was crying and everything, bro. I was like, yo, what the fuck?
He's
It's
crazy,
like I'm
dude.
done.
He's
I'm
wiping it
done.
out. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm
fuck. And I'm
just
like, yo,
done.
I never want to
Want to
feel like
feel
that
that.
ever again. Where
Must have been a
my
hectic
destiny,
moment.
it was, yo, bro, it was, I was like, fuck, I gotta
Didn't
figure something
even
out
think of it for
again.
people
I
like you.
didn't
I was
even
like,
think about how that was affecting people who were actually connecting on TikTok at that time too, and having a
Yeah.
yeah.
lot of traction.
And then people on Twitter were it's like, oh, here it goes, and TikTok is working at McDonald's.
Oh,
And I'm like, no, no,
people
that's
are
not funny.
ruthless. Holy shit.
shit.
And I'm like,
Ruthless, dog. They
but they're
was doing
really
the
talking
same
about
thing with
like the
OnlyFans, dog. Yo, people are
they
mean,
do
bro.
this. Yeah, it's like, bro, we're our bread is about to be
And
taken
like,
away.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Our
this is
bread is about
really
to be
much.
taken away. Y'all just making
Yeah,
jokes, but it's like, people are people. But like I was saying, like I don't want to ever feel like that ever again,
for
Yeah.
real.
where my
Yeah.
destiny is in the hands of a president or in the hands of the CEO of whatever platform I'm finessing.
Yeah,
So it's like that is something I'm still trying to figure out too. And that's
yeah,
another reason why I haven't uh um signed anything or try to out like actively try to find some like some kind of investor just yet, just
hmm,
because my work is still dependent on the the lifspan of these app platforms that I'm on.
The
that's really
biggest,
tight for you to even have the awareness
yeah.
to know that, dog, because so
Yeah.
many people will be so thirsty to like, but like,
Yeah.
yo, what you can't fake is like
It's
and
confidence.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, and your impact on
Yeah.
the people when you're actually in front of them. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you got to build that part up and like being able to like make sure that you don't like skip any steps when you go from venue to venue. Like when you get to the place where like, okay, I have enough impact to where if I can just get in touch with my fans, I know that they will come see
They're
me.
gonna come
Yeah,
regardless. Yeah.
I think
What was you gonna say, Troy?
now I was gonna say it's definitely a testament to how important it is for you to have basically the direct access and communication with your fan base.
Yeah.
Like for multiple reasons. One being, yes, like, you know, even though you get a lot of value out of these platforms, they get more of it. There's just no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And two, you can leverage your fan base for anything you ever want, you know, when it comes to this business in a good way. And they'll be there, and they'll be there letting you leverage them the right way, and still stand by you. And when you don't have them in an accessible way, then I think it helps a lot of other people try to, it puts you at a bigger fear, maybe, or creates more fear for the creator, you know, like I was trying to explain to an artist I used to work with why, you know, we should outsource our, basically our data analytics and, this company that did like data analytics and email marketing or email subscriber lists. They, you know, they basically took all the data and like analyzed it themselves and gave it to us, right? And I was like, we need to outsource that and not let the label do that. And she was like, what? Like, why? Like, she didn't pay attention to it, and I don't blame her, because it's not like something, when you're in a deal, you're working, you're not really thinking about it like, dude, I'm just working on my music, this or that. It was like, no, because in 3 years when you're out of this deal, I'm gonna take that data and I'm gonna work on it throughout this entire time.
Yes.
We're gonna galvanize to those people. We're gonna make sure we're galvanizing people into this, and we're gonna have it. The label shouldn't be the ones just having it, because when they just have it, they have more leverage when you're out of that deal to renew your deal and to make you afraid. But if we have that data, we're gonna go to them or somebody else and be like, yo, shut up, pay me, to whoever we want. Because, and at that point, and if you don't even want to take a deal, you'll be like, I have my fans, I have all their phone numbers, I have all their geographical information, I know how to connect with them, like I speak to them, I you know, I have all that community. And that alone, you know, just from a deal making standpoint, which I don't want to put this just in business terms, but like, unfortunately, businesses, there's so many psychological components to it. It's like, that's the leverage, you know. It's it right there, you know, because that's who's supporting you financially, that's who's giving you views, and all that, and that's who the label wants, you know, and that's who brands want.
That's what brands, that's what everybody wants. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, I think going back all the way back to NFT thing, when I heard about it as like a subscriber list and being able to do it, like use it like in that sort of way, I was like, oh, okay, that as like a artist business component makes a lot of sense to me. You know,
I never thought about that, just because I don't know if they're, because I'm still even in my mind seeing like I'm still dependent on platforms doing that for me. Like, hey, just come to this, you buy this NFT, and now you're on the subscriber list, not really realizing that my team and I have to like mitigate that ourselves. Yeah. Did I use mitigate right? Doesn't matter. But you know what I'm trying to say.
So mitigating the risk.
Yeah. So no, I didn't use it right. But what I'm saying is me just assessing that and like making that list myself. So that's a great idea. And
yeah, definitely think about that when, you know, whether it's like the community text app, which, you know, is a great concept, or whatever it is, you know, just bring those people to places where you can access them. Like I really think, you know, that is so important. There's a company called Tradable Bits too that they used to do it for like they do it for a lot of festivals and events. They like are the data, you know, analysts and providers and aggregators for like a lot of big event companies, but they started kind of moving into the artist space. But yeah, they'll anytime you sell something, that link will attach to some back end process that you own, where you will get all the information that's available through that link, like legally, you know. Yeah, so you know, there's a whole process, but yeah, you should check them out, or you know, we could link you with them. Payne and I've worked with them a few times, but yeah, just shit like that I think is really interesting.
Let me write that down. Tradable Bits.
I'll put you in touch with them. We'll put you on an email with them.
Appreciate it, brother, man.
For sure. I think they'd be excited about what you got going on.
Nah, man, but like I want to thank you again, Doc, for coming on here and like, you know.
Oh shit, that's it?
This one.
How long has it been?
Bro, we've been here for a while.
Shit.
Man, like an hour and 30. I mean,
it felt like 30.
Right. All right.
For
I was
real.
only supposed to have you for an hour, honestly. But
uh,
I know you got, shit you got to get done, and
yeah.
I didn't want to
Yeah.
hold you for too long. But I want to thank you for coming on and sharing the platform, dog. This one really meant a lot to me, man, and I'm excited for the show. We still got to think of like a reoccurring question that we ask our guests. Troy, you got something on your brain? You got something?
I don't got anything right
What
now,
is the
but you're
meaning of
right.
life?
Cool.
Yeah.
Nah, not anything corny, but something like
It's what it
cool,
feels like, right?
right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
gotta ask one. Like we gotta ask
Yeah.
something that's cool. But nah,
Yeah.
man. But thank you,
Yeah.
bro, for
Y'all
coming
figure
on.
it
And
out on the job training, just like that.
honestly, dog,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on, bro. It meant a lot.
Yeah.
And love what you're doing right now. Love that you're doing it with purpose. Love that you're helping others too as you're going on the journey too, man.
Thank you, dog.
Really
And
dope.
I'll be back for the future episode too,
Oh, for
because
sure.
this is cool. I like
You know
this.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because see,
I
we
fuck with
actually
this too.
are gonna finesse you to be the third host. Like you're gonna be a
Yeah.
recurring host because it feels good. You got the
It does
mic,
feel good.
like
Okay, you
I
know,
could
I
see
got the
us. I could
background.
see us. I could see us having another guest on here with Piff. Honestly,
oh for sure, for
I
you
like
sure.
no,
know.
I ain't gonna lie. I always when I listen to podcasts, there's always that reoccurring guest, like how on Rogan,
Yeah,
Brian, what's his name? He's an MFC fighter. MFC, NFC, UFC, UFC
UFC,
fighter.
Yeah. Yeah.
UFC.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but like I always wanted to be that recurring guest that
You know what I'm saying?
come on, friend of
You
the show,
definitely,
the
you
friend of the
Yeah.
definitely
show.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm not gonna lie. Like as much as I'm grateful, beyond grateful and appreciative, and have enjoyed all of our interviews. I mean, I'll just talking to somebody that's just an artist and a like thinks about creativity all day. It's just like
Mm.
I could sit here. You know
Real
what I
talk,
mean? Like
dog.
That's why it
it's
felt
a
like 30
All
minutes.
day.
yeah.
I can sit here
You
all day,
know,
bro.
there's so much like, and I don't blame any of these people that we talk to. You know, there's a lot of people we talk to that work at big companies or have even smaller companies, but still corporate environment and to any capacity. It's like there's a certain type of discretion that needs to be used, you know, of course, to protect jobs, which I get, but it's like fuck, I just want people to open up, you know, I just want people to talk about shit. That's why we're here, you know what I mean, in the first place. So it's like sometimes Payne and I will do one-on-one episodes just to just say crazy shit to
Crazy
each other,
shit.
Yeah.
you know, because it's like
Turn up.
I don't know if anybody's listening to those, but like we just have to say
We
them.
love to get our
Yeah.
shit off, so it's just like,
Yeah.
yo, fuck, nah. But
Yeah.
understand it's tight. I'm glad that we had
Yeah.
you because you can just talk to us. You know what I'm
And just
saying?
chill.
And
And
the
it that
more
like felt like
the
a
more that we have
conversation
you on,
anyway.
yeah, the more that we have
Yeah.
you on here, I think you'll give us some more. I want you to
Mm.
cry on here. You know what I'm saying? That's oh, shit. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, speaking of which,
Yeah.
Trying to get this nigga
shameless plug.
Go ahead.
By the time
It'll
this
be
episode is out, the extended version of Boys Do Cry will be out.
Wow.
I'm
We just got an exclusive.
what
I'm
day is
Pat,
that?
Pat, Pat,
October
October
1st?
1st.
October
All right.
October
Well,
1st.
maybe we'll
So
try
it-
drop a couple days after. This will be out a
You know
couple
what I'm
days
saying?
after, I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We'll
But yeah,
definitely
so
post that. Definitely support. Yo,
go listen to that. It is
sure.
yeah, it's important.
It is.
And
It's a great record too.
yeah, it's important.
You
That's all
when
I
did you
got.
do the extended? When did you do the extended version?
I recorded it like 5 days ago or something.
So was it extended video version too?
Yep.
Oh wow, you're cool.
Yeah.
And
Yo,
not a
all
lot of it's full videos.
Did he did the
huh?
extended
Yeah.
video?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say, like, you know, well, we didn't really talk about it, but yeah, not a lot of videos that you have, or you know, they're shortened videos.
Yeah, just not just yet. Like it's still, it's still gonna be, I mean, people are gonna notice by the time this is out. It's still like the second verse is still another TikTok reel, but I'm just gonna be combining those two, putting it on YouTube, and then because really there's no rules. But obviously, but in the
Nice.
future, of
Yeah.
course, I'm gonna be moving into the direction of like, more treated music videos with some
Mm.
concepts and stuff like that. Still not veering off from what I've been doing because this is like what I
Yeah.
do, but still but also transitioning into bigger things. And that's one of those things that I'm talking about when I'm saying I'm gonna do bigger stuff too.
Yeah.
Also, who has been talk about some of the support that you've gotten from the people that you like. Yo, I can't believe this person follows
Oh
me. I can't
yeah,
believe this person is like actually like support. Like what the fuck? Like
bro.
talk about that.
Yeah, thank you. Fucking the biggest one was Shaquille O'Neal. So, and
That's crazy.
I didn't. A lot of people don't know about this because it was a DM, and now this is the first time I'm actually talking about it like publicly.
Wow.
Um, for those that don't know, my real name is Shaquille, and I was named
Mm,
after Shaquille O'Neal.
That's
And for him to
amazing.
hit me up,
sick.
he DM'd me. This was when Boys Do Cry went like super viral. He was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, bars, brother, respect." And then I sent back
He's
the
such a
He was
legend,
like,
dog. He
what?
is such a legend. He's also funny. Like I feel like he gets it.
yeah, he absolutely gets it.
Yeah.
He's definitely in
Yeah.
tune. And I sent back the Spider-Man meme where they pointing at each other. Cause I'm like, yo, my name is Shaquille too. He didn't respond, but I'm like, fuck it.
For whatever.
Nah, but you'll cross paths with him. He's one of those like friendly, accessible people. I only like have
Yeah.
listened. I've only been like he's only been ever my favorite basketball player, pretty much ever. You know, like he's like it's like you have like Shaq and then you got everyone else. Because as a personality and like when you
Yeah.
grow up watching him, you're like it's like being a Yankees fan. It's like it's Jeter and then you know that's what it was like to
Everybody
me. You
else.
know, yeah,
I
everybody
met
else
him
like
randomly coming out of
yeah.
the Thompson Hotel out of my elevator. Shaq was coming on, I was coming out, and we shook hands.
How'd you know it was him?
Right? Because I had to duck while he's coming in. And we
He's
shook
so
hands,
good.
and
He's
was like,
so good at
such
being
a
him.
nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like
he's
that
a legend.
he's another person that does everything. He tries to do everything from
Yeah.
DJing, movies, making shoes, doing everything. He's really smart. He has a I like his business acumen as well too. I definitely look at him as
Yeah,
far as like how to invest in things
Yeah.
as well too.
yeah,
Like he's hella intelligent. You
yeah.
just find
And he
out
does.
the type of bags that he has out of nowhere. It's like, oh,
Right?
you in that? I'm like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
We
Yeah.
just bought Reebok. I was like, what, nigga, Reebok?
super smart.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who
Cool.
else? Can I keep going or what?
yeah, keep going
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Let's get this list out.
It was I mean Taraji, of course, because like growing up, she was one of my favorite actresses. It was like it's really dope. She's like reposting my stuff on the main page. So I was like, that's
Right?
crazy.
Crazy.
Van Lathan,
Mm.
Reading Rainbow. What's his name? Fuck. How do I forget his name?
Oh, which
The-
one?
Yeah, I think you forgot you forgotten his name in the last podcast too. I'm not gonna lie. Am I bugging out?
You
No, no,
keep,
no.
you keep forgetting them.
What is his name?
Reading
What
Rainbow.
is his name?
Wow.
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton. Yes.
Yeah.
He reposted the video on Twitter. He was like, "This is so important," and I'm like, "Bro, you kind of told me how to read." And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Whoa, you told me the
This is
value
powerful.
of reading, and you're like now
Yeah,
enjoying my work at the same time." So a
powerful.
lot of the people, I mean, there's other celebrities that shared my stuff
Yeah,
too. But like those people that I just mentioned, just like they hold like
yeah.
such I'm like very proud of that they recognize my work because like I grew up like loving their shit,
That's
like just
what's up,
loving
man.
like all the things that they do. So it's just cool, and it also showed me that everybody's watching for real,
Yeah,
for real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah, man. It's
yeah,
tight, and it's just like it's also just another reassurance that you're doing the right thing. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That always feels good.
It
When
does
like
feel good.
when you're doing something and you're like, yo, am I doing it? And then someone like, you're like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it.
you doing that? Yeah, yeah.
Nah, man. But yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on, Doc.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
Likewise.
me.
Much
I'll
love,
be back.
Doc. Much love. You have a good rest of your day.
Y'all too. Stay dangerous.
All right, Piff Marty. Thank you, bro.
Ah.